Welcome. I'm so glad you're here to join me. Those of you who are watching this as a recording, my name's Kristen Bowen. I'm a magnesium advocate. I am not a doctor. I want to share the 3 stages that I've watched people experience over the last 20 years of soaking in transdermal magnesium. But you always need to take your situation into play and make decisions that are best for you. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get on to the 3 phases of magnesium soaking, recognizing you might start in phase 2. Or at the very end, we'll talk about one phase that happens for a small percentage of people, but it's so important that you know that one because you might be in that percentage and it will give you some thoughts on what might be benefit for you. Let's go. Phase number 1, you soak in magnesium and you experience relaxation. So much relaxation that you typically will soak at night. Most people start soaking at night because they're so relaxed. They're ready for bed. Their body has utilized the magnesium that you've soaked your feet or in the tub 20 to 45 minutes, a quarter of a cup. Soaking in a bowl or tub is the same benefit. It doesn't change. And relaxation kicks in. And if you were to soak in the morning, you might not want to show up to work, or you might just want to go take a nap at 9 o'clock in the morning. And that wasn't your goal with magnesium. So utilizing the time of day in the phase that you're in becomes incredibly important. Nighttime is typically best, but there's a downside to this phase. And that downside is you soak in magnesium and you're not relaxed, you're exhausted to the point you don't even want to move your arms, to the point where you even think about maybe I can't make it into work tomorrow. I have a philosophy that I have put together over the last 20 years, and that is magnesium shines the light on what is happening in your body. And if we will look at it as communication versus a failure, we will learn the insight that we're actually needing along our journey of creating optimal health. Why are we even soaking in the first place? You need to answer that for yourself. I would love to share some of mine. I want to be able to run with my grandkids, climb trees, show up hiking with my adult kids, biking, those types of things. I love to be out in nature, moving. It's one of the most peaceful places for me that I really experience calm and just have such incredible gratitude for what's around me. If I don't feel well, if my arthritis has kicked in, if my knees are bothering me, that can't happen. And my goal with magnesium is to show up as the best version of me for the people that I love. When you're soaking in magnesium in phase number 1, if that exhaustion has kicked in, and maybe it's just a mild exhaustion, I don't want you exhausted. Relaxation is good. Better sleep is optimal, but exhausted, no bueno. It's not what we're going for. That I have found over the years is your body communicating with you that you don't have enough potassium. Oh, come here, buddy. I've got Louie here. Many of you know Louie, and he is now officially wanting a different treat. So hopefully he's not going to continue talking to me. But when that magnesium, you uptake that magnesium, if you are low on potassium, your body will drop some potassium to run over to pick up the magnesium. Well, if you're low in potassium and you drop more, that's when exhaustion kicks in. Now, again, I'm not a doctor, not telling you what to do because every single person is at a different stage of how much potassium their body can handle. Certain medications, kidney function can all determine the amount of potassium that's correct for you. Typically, most people can take more potassium. Great whole food sources are coconut water. That is one of my favorites for potassium because it's whole food. Check that coconut water though for sugar, natural flavorings, artificial sweeteners. My favorite coconut water is actually it's a green. Now I'm blank on the name. It's a green bottle and green and white, and it has a picture of a coconut water on it, and it's pink, and you can usually find it at most big box stores. And I'll come up with that name and leave it in the comments. I just went blank on the name. But that potassium in that coconut water will bring those potassium levels up quickly. Now, maybe you don't have coconut water on hand. Another way that you can get a quick dose of potassium is to do 4 ounces of orange juice, which is about 400 milligrams, and then add a teaspoon of cream of tartar that hopefully is in your cupboard. And when you do that, you're getting about 900 to 1,000 milligrams of potassium. You do have to keep an eye on that though. That cream of tartar is synthetic, and synthetic nutrition by honey. Oh, thanks for grabbing the dog bites. He's going to go feed the dog treats. Hey, he's got it in there. Go. He's sitting here. I don't know if you can hear him, but he's scratching on my leg. That's about 900 milligrams of potassium. The cream of tartar is synthetic though, and some people, a lot of people, will experience stomach upset at a certain level. And you may not know what your level is that first time. So for example, I can take up to 2 teaspoons of cream of tartar a day if I needed that. If I were on vacation, if I wasn't in an optimal situation and I knew I needed that potassium, I would do that. Over that, and my stomach cannot handle it. I've had a few people report back they only can take a half a teaspoon. Most people are fine with a teaspoon, but recognize it is synthetic potassium, and depending on your stomach, it may or may not cause you stomach issues. That 500 milligram dose of 1 teaspoon of cream of tartar. Now, you can also, if you don't have orange juice, just put the cream of tartar in some water and drink it that way. But adding that potassium in is going to make it so that you have a better balance of potassium and magnesium. Making sure that you have that potassium will take away that exhaustion within minutes. Because remember, we want relaxation, not exhaustion. Then, as you're doing the 30-day challenge, or you're just soaking more regularly, whichever pathway that you're on, the second stage is going to kick in. And I wish, oh, how I wish that I could tell you how, like, it will happen at 6 weeks. It will happen at 3 weeks. It will happen at 3 months. But this part of the journey is very individual to each person and how their body is wired. In that, I can't tell you when you go to phase 2. And phase 2 is energized. You will soak in magnesium and your adrenals will go, hey, I am getting this potassium. I'm getting it on a regular, or not potassium, back that up. I'm getting this magnesium. I'm getting it on a regular basis. I want to go do some of the things I'm supposed to be doing all the time, but I couldn't because I didn't have enough magnesium. And so your adrenals start waking up. And if you're soaking at night, that means when you go to sleep, your body's waking up, taking away from optimal sleep. At that point, changing the time that you soak in magnesium needs to happen. Most people will soak in the afternoon or in the early morning so that they're still getting that optimal sleep. And sometimes that happens at 6 weeks in, sometimes it's at 3 months in. It really depends on your inflammation levels, on your blood glucose level, if you're insulin resistant, and some medications that you're on. There's lots of varying factors, and it just is your journey will be very different from your sister, your best friend, your husband, your boyfriend. Individualizing your journey to your body and listening to those cues is going to get you to that optimal place of health faster than anything. And so as you listen to your body, if you're staying awake, if your thoughts, for example, on mine, I would get into bed, I would start to relax, get relaxed to go to sleep. And my ideas would it wasn't that I was physically stimulated, my brain was stimulated. And all of a sudden, I would have all of these creative ideas, which I absolutely love, but not when I'm trying to go to sleep. And so just changing the time of that soaking, because phase 2, I've noticed over the years, over 10,000 women that I've been keeping track of and let me show you the journal. In journals like this, Moleskin journals. Hey, buddy, come on, come get on my lap. In Moleskin journals and now on a Google sheet, I've kept track of that. And phase 2 is the shortest. That's the shortest period and transition period. And sometimes it's only a week or two. And I haven't seen it go over 4 to 6 weeks on people. So phase 2 is definitely the shortest phase. But phase 2 is leading you to the optimal phase of phase 3. And this is the goal with magnesium. And that is balance. That is when your body has enough magnesium consistently, not just once a month, but consistently feeding your body the magnesium that it needs. And then your body knows what to do with it. And you've built a trust bank with your body. And so your body, you can soak at night and go to sleep. You can soak in the morning and not be sleepy. Your body knows what to do with the magnesium. So it's like you're building that trust bank with your body and the magnesium and saying, hey, I let you get low, but I'm not going to let you get low anymore. You're going, come on. Oh, he doesn't want on my lap. So we're going to have a little bit of background. Mr. Lou, we're going to have a little bit of background noise here. That's where we want to be, that's where I want to be. I don't want to assume for you. But when my body has that trust bank of enough magnesium and it's gotten it consistently, not perfectly, but consistently, and it knows what to do with it. Those 3 phases will maybe one will be a week long, one will be 2.5 months long. And the end phase, as you give your body that consistent soaking, then you're at the balance stage. And when you've got that magnesium built to the balance stage, that's when you've opened the first gateway of health. If you don't open the gateway of magnesium, you can still create health, but it's not going to be optimized because your vitamin D, magnesium plays such a big role in activating your vitamin D from going to stored vitamin D to active vitamin D. And it helps keep inflammation down. Studies show that when your body is magnesium rich, that your inflammation goes down. Anytime we reduce inflammation at any level, our body's healing factor is higher. And so being at that stage of balance is the goal. I want to share with you though, and please, for those of you, I see a few people on live with us right now. Welcome. I would love if you have questions. This is a great time about these 3 phases of soaking. I am going to stick with questions on the topic so that I don't squirrel all over the place. But this is your time to ask those questions, and I'd love to interact with you and to hear where you're coming in from. If you've soaked in transdermal magnesium soak before from my company, Living the Good Life Naturally. I'd love to know. Tell me where you're coming from and any questions that go along with the 3 phases of magnesium soaking. There is a last phase I want to talk about, and not everyone will get there. It's not a phase. It's that communication, that feedback from your body. And not everyone will experience this, but enough people do that I want to talk about it. And again, please remember, I'm not a doctor. I'm sharing with you some thoughts that I've learned, and then you can make the best decision for your body. So when you're soaking in magnesium and you put your feet in the water and your heart starts to go into palpitations, that is scary. And you need to pay attention to that. Here's one thing that most of the time, not always, most of the time, I want to be really clear that you need to make the best decision for your body, and you don't ignore this when your heart goes into palpitations. Here's what I've seen on this one that has helped a lot of people. And that is, you actually need to take a break from soaking if that happens. You need to step back. And typically, cortisol levels are high, thyroid function is low, and potassium is low. And when those things are all in play at a strong enough level, that heart goes into palpitations. Where typically magnesium helps your heart. But when those 3 things are in play, you can get those heart palpitations. Stepping back and focusing on a couple of things. And here's the things that I've seen over the 20 years work. Number 1 is hydration. Magnesium is hydrophilic, just meaning it moves better in your body with water, making sure not only that you're drinking enough water, but that your water is going into the cell. That's a new issue that started coming up the last few years. A very simple remedy to get that water in your cell is a pinch of salt on your tongue while you drink water, again, according to what your body needs. My husband has very different needs for salt than I do. My blood pressure tends to run low, and I can take much more salt than he does. Oh, Vanessa, I'm so glad to have you here on the live. I love being here with you and just connecting. So thank you so much for telling me that you're here. And that way it helps me think of a specific person instead of a sea of people that I don't know. So thank you so much. So making sure that that's salt. And then when we're talking about magnesium, remember the reason that we're utilizing magnesium first on our journey to optimal health or maintaining optimal health wherever you're at is creating voltage for the cell. If you don't have enough voltage at the cellular level, everything else on your journey is going to be harder. Everything. I like things easy. I like doing them in order. I love referencing The Sound of Music. That was the first movie I ever saw. And remember when they say, and I'm not going to sing, but it makes me want to, when they sang, let's start at the very beginning. It's a very good place to start. And then there's that song that goes along with it. That's what magnesium is. When you start at the very beginning, magnesium is a very good place to start. Someone needs to write a song that we can hear that in the background. And when you're adding salt to your water, or a pinch on your tongue when you're taking water in, that salt helps push the magnesium into the cell instead of just hydrating and going to the bathroom after and just having it flush through your body. Adding the right amount of salt is pushing it into your cell. And that's when water makes a difference in how your magnesium moves. Another thing that we need to do when that issue of heart palpitation comes up is to make sure that your stress levels are not high. Okay, this one's happened a lot. So I want to share. A lot of times I'll say that, and people will say, I don't have high stress. I don't have stress. But you can see on their body all the signs of high cortisol. Oh, that would be a good video. Okay, tomorrow's video, let's do signs of high cortisol that walk you away from magnesium. I'll be going live tomorrow also, and that would be a secondary video to keep this one shorter. So the best way to check for stress is the space in between your heartbeats. It's called your heart rate variability. And is what happens is we get so used to living stressed and we think that's the norm. And when you look at the heart rate variability, that is a true marker of where your stress is at. And the awesome thing is you can get apps. If you use a phone, an iPhone or an Android, they'll have apps to pick up your heart rate variability. Or if you wear certain types of watches, they can pick up your heart rate variability. And then as you get a profile and a back, you can look back on what your heart rate has done. Then you start to pick up a picture of what is low stress for you, what is mid-grade, and what is high level. And when that heart rate variability falls within certain numbers, we know that's affecting your body, even though it feels normal to you. So looking at that heart rate variability is very important. And then we want to look at thyroid function. One of my favorite tools to kick thyroid function up is vitamin C. Acerola cherry powder being my favorite. When it's grown correctly and processed correctly, that acerola cherry will help you with your T4 to T3 conversion. The first thing that goes off with your thyroid is your magnesium drops, and then your T4 to T3 conversion drops. And a good acerola cherry that's grown and processed correctly will help you with that conversion. And as you get those pieces into play, then start soaking again, if appropriate for you, in magnesium, but do less. Maybe even start with a tablespoon at a time. Joe, welcome to Living the Good Life Naturally. I haven't seen your name on lives before, so I'm assuming this might be your first time. Let me share with you my philosophy, and then we'll call it good for the day. Oh, Linda, I missed your comment. We're going to go back to Linda's quick. I use a French sea salt. That's my favorite. Currently, I'm looking for a full spectrum salt with all the minerals and very low in microplastics. Joe, oh, you are new. Welcome. I was after I said that, I thought you shouldn't have assumed that. So yay, I wasn't too off there. The reason that I don't do magnesium pills, and it's a personal decision for each person, is when you're taking a synthetic magnesium that's been heated, pulverized, and compounded into whatever form that you're taking it in, it loses its ability, because of all of that processing, it's losing its ability to keep you and maintain cell saturation. Now, each of us has to create our goal with what our goal is with magnesium. My goal is cell saturation. The majority of people, high majority of people, cannot get there with a pill. You would have to take so much that it would cause, because of its synthetic nature, it would cause digestive issues. And another issue that happens with synthetic magnesium is it actually decreases your body's ability to uptake nutrients, because it's moving the nutrients through your body faster at the level that you would need to take. And then the other issue that I have with taking synthetic, and again, realizing your goals and my goals might be different, and that's okay. I'm just sharing with you why I choose soaking versus synthetic pills. The other problem that happens is if we're using oral synthetic magnesium pills as a crutch to soften our stools and to keep them moving, we're actually walking away from our body doing that naturally. I want to look at, why am I needing to use an outside source for a function that my body should be taking care of? And when we rely on that outside source for stool softening and regularity, we're creating lazy habits in our peristaltic action. And so that's why, for me, the transdermal has been a much more efficient process to keep me at magnesium self saturation. Welcome, Joe, and I'm so glad you're here. And I hope you show up again. Okay, Angelica, such a beautiful name, and I love the flowers there in that picture. I'm so glad you love the magnesium soap. And what great timing. You just got out of a magnesium soap. And I love the fact you did it in the bathtub. Sometimes people, because there is a lot of information to uptake about magnesium, and sometimes people will think they can only soak their feet in a bowl of water. And remember, if you're new, we don't soak in plastic bowls. Now, Angelica's bathtub is a different plastic than the plastic of a bowl. A plastic bowl, we found through thermal imaging testing, slows the uptake of magnesium across the board 100% of the time. The plastic in a tub did not. So different types of plastic there. I think that's probably one of the biggest pieces of confusion that people who are new to utilizing magnesium soap from Living the Good Life Naturally, that they get confused on, because they hear people say bowls. And there will be conversations on social media about it, but no plastic bowls, because it does cut the uptake of magnesium. Oh, Joe, absolutely. And here's the thing. I'm so glad you left this comment, because it's a journey. And I'm sure right now there are some things I'm not doing right when it comes to some of my supplements. And I love thinking of it as a journey. In fact, this morning I was talking to my daughter, and we were talking about when we were working out this morning, and my adult daughter, and we were talking about some of the things that I used to do when they were kids, that I just looked at her and I said, I wish I could go back. I know so much more now. And she looked at me and she goes, Mom, I got kind of called on the carpet. She said, it's part of the journey, right? We gather information as we go and share what we've learned, and that enriches all of us. And for example, it's one of my motivating factors. My grandfather was one of the most influential men in my life before my husband. We lost him at the end because of Alzheimer's and dementia. And that would be another good topic to do, because there's lots of new data out on what magnesium does for that. One of my goals of soaking in magnesium is to make sure, as I age on my journey, that I mentally can share those things that I've learned with my children and grandchildren. And so, yeah, no bad. We're just all on this journey, and you'll determine the right layers to put together for yourself. I love soaking in magnesium, and it was the layer after a failed surgery, seizures, being in a wheelchair, not being able to take in food, tubes going in, tubes going out, Joe. It was the layer that opened up the door for me to create better health. Now, it didn't heal everything, and I think people sometimes get confused on that aspect with magnesium. It doesn't heal everything. It does open the pathway for everything to start healing. It's like the spark plug that turns it back on. Oh, I am so glad you're here too. And I loved having you here. And in fact, Joe, here's what I would like to do. Let's see, who was our first commenter was Vanessa. And so I try to pick every time a person who is new to magnesium, and then a person who's been on the journey of magnesium. And I would like to send both of you. Vanessa, are you still on? I know we've been on now for about 20 minutes. Are you still on the live? Joe, if you would please reach out, and I will put my email right here. If you, oops, oh, I just hit enter. That's not it. Hold on. If you will reach out, Joe, to this email that I'm putting on, trying to type while I look at you is not working. Okay. And then Shelly will activate the process of shipping you, if you're in the United States, I don't ship internationally, of shipping you a magnesium bundle. And Vanessa, that goes for you too. I just cannot tell you the difference it makes for me and what I share when I can visualize people there. So I really appreciate Vanessa. You were the very first person to hop on and comment and share where you were at. And Joe, I love it when new people show up and are able to I love the interaction of people who maybe haven't heard about transdermal magnesium or haven't used my transdermal magnesium, because just bragging a little bit, it is the best that is out there. And here's the stats of how I can back up that claim, because that's a pretty bold claim, but it's true. It's not processed. Every time you process magnesium, it loses its ability to give you the benefits of what magnesium can do. It's not watered down. I have to make profit. I'm a business. I've got payroll. There's all those things. How I make profit is more important to me than how much profit I make. I will never water the magnesium down. The next thing is it comes from the cleanest source. And I actually just became North America's distributor for this source from the Zextine C. I cannot tell you how many companies have the marking that they're from the Zextine C, and they are not getting it because there's only one place that you can get it from the Zextine C that is by the European Union, has been certified that it is an underground seabed that is for topical use. There are other underground seabeds, but they're not clean. They don't come in low in arsenic and cadmium and heavy metals, and they come in with cofactors like a little bit of potassium and a little bit of sodium. And so it's incredibly important. And that's one of the reasons I get on live. I want to build a trust bank with you. I want you to know that this magnesium is the best there is, and that it's not watered down. It's packed by my family right here at our warehouses. I'm in our third warehouse. So we have 4 warehouses. I'm in the third warehouse, and it has the boardroom and my husband's office and shipping behind me. And so we're right here on site, and my daughter runs her team over in the fulfillment part of the warehouse. That one takes up 2 parts because Louise coming to join us. We got enough treats for my husband. And so I want to build that trust factor with you, because there are so many companies. I love the fact that there are other companies doing magnesium. I truly believe that they will reach people that I can't reach. I do have an issue though when they water it down, when they're making it from flakes. Flakes do not because of the processing of flakes, they do not help you maintain cell saturation. It's just, oh, anyway, I've done previous videos on that. I'm not going off on that tangent, but I want you to know that I'm here to help you, to answer questions. And if you want, invite me in, and I'd love to be a part of your journey. It is one outside of my family and grandchildren. It is the most important thing to me because I've been there when I was chasing symptoms and so sick and didn't know what to do and tried so many things. And I want to be a part of your journey and help you because my end goal, and oh, my buddy, oh, look at that face. See, that's so sweet. I want to be a part because my end goal is helping people wake up in the morning feeling good because I'm convinced when you do, you change your corner of the world. And I have beautiful grandbabies that need this world changed. And so it's more than just magnesium to me. It's about helping you learn how to soak less in magnesium and get out there and change the world with your gifts and your talents. And I would love to be a part of your journey. So, Joe, so glad you're here. Oh, from Pennsylvania. Oh, Vanessa. Vanessa. Who? Okay, so Joe, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for interacting and jumping in, and I loved it. And Vanessa, you are so very welcome. I always try to hit a person who's been soaking for a while and a new person. So, welcome to Living the Good Life Naturally. If it was your first time joining us today, and I will be going live tomorrow and giving away some more magnesium because love languages. Have you ever heard of that? Mine is magnesium. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you tomorrow. Happy soaking. Bye-bye. Haley, you are a little loud. Sorry about that.